Hi, this is a little video to help with the query Days to Ship. It's in the Chapter 6, Problem Solve 1. It is steps 2 and 3. So if we, on the left here, I have the instructions, and then on the right here I have the query. So let's read through the directions. It says create a query in design view based on table shipment and table transactions. Okay, so the first thing that I did was I created a new query in design view and I pulled in shipment and transaction. You can see that they're already related based on the transaction ID. All right, we want to display trans ID. Right, so we're going to do trans ID. So I brought trans ID down. So I just double clicked and brought it down. Then we need to do a calculated field titled Days to Ship. Let me make this a little bigger. That calculates the number of days it took to ship the items from the date purchased using the date difference. So you have to analyze what it's asking us to do. So it's asking us to figure out, and let me run the answer here so you can see. So this new field that we're trying to calculate is going to tell us for each transaction how many days it took from the time that it was ordered until it shipped. Okay, so that's the goal of this query. We don't have a field that does that, so we're going to have to make a calculated field. So remember, we go into a new column with nothing in it, right-click, and zoom. So once we do that, you get the zoom screen, right? So now let's look at what we have to do. So it's going to be called Days to Ship. So we're going to go ahead in our zoom screen and type Days to Ship, colon. Remember what I've said like 100 times. Left of the colon is the name of the calculated field. Right of the colon is the calculation, right? So if we look at this, Days to Ship, colon. So far I'm just typing what they tell me. Days to Ship. Okay, so then it says calculates the number of days it took to ship the item from the date purchased. So now what I need to do is kind of take a look at my data up here in my two tables. So I have a field that's called transaction date. So that would be the date that it was ordered, right? That the order was placed. And then I have a shipment date, right? So the first thing you have to do to try and figure out this problem is to come up with what the underlying data is. And so by looking at your fields, you can see that. All right, so we have transaction date and shipment date. So really, we just want to find the difference between those two dates. And the instructions say to use the dateDiff function, all right? So that's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start to put the function called dateDiff parentheses, because remember, functions, even if we're not supplying them with anything, we have to have parentheses after it. So I open up the parentheses. And then if you look in your book, you would see how this dateDiff function is set up. So the first element that you have to provide is what do you want your answer to be provided in? Do you want it to be in days? Do you want it to be in weeks, months, quarters, years? Each of those have a different code. That's that chart that I asked you to paperclip in class. Let me see the page number. So the page number is 359. It is the quick reference at the top of 359. So if you want the day, right, the number, if you want the answer in days, then you put a D, and that's inside quotes. So quote, D, quote. So what that's telling the function is we want the answer to be shown in days, comma. Then you just provide the two fields that you're trying to get the difference between. And logically, you would do the earlier date first. So that would be the date that the order was placed, right? So that would be transaction date. So inside square brackets, because every time we reference a field in Access, that field has to be in square brackets. So square bracket, transaction date, square bracket, comma, square bracket, shipment date, square bracket. So we're saying, hey, do the difference between transaction date and shipment date. Show me the answer in days. And I'm done with that function. So I end my parentheses. Remember, I tell you, look at how many opening parentheses. Count them up. 1, 2, 3. You got to have 1, 2, 3 closing. In this case, we have 1 opening. We have 1 closing. Go ahead and do OK. And let's go back to our directions and see if we need to do anything else. All right, so it says sort the results in descending order. So I just do days to ship, sort, pick descending, and then save it as query days to ship. So I'm going to go ahead and run it. And sure enough, for each transaction, it tells me how long it took between the time it was ordered to when it was shipped, and it's in descending order. The ones that took the most days to ship are at the top. You can save that query and move on to the next one. I hope that helped you analyze this days to ship problem. All right, thank you.